A beautiful day started with an Arsenal defeat, Chelsea playing abysmally, and Spurs winning. We won, we played well, and we finally got a home victory. And to discuss it all with me, we've got Si in Basel.
Good evening, Jim. Yeah, very well, thanks.
Good to hear. We've got Stu in Burnley.
Absolutely freezing as well. I miss the sun.
Yeah, a slight change to life in Dubai. Someone who's used to bleak weather, but good beer is Johnny.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm used to good beer.
He was about to come back with something there, wasn't he? Right? Oh, yeah, the good beer, good beer. Yeah.
Normally you say hello to me last, so I wasn't paying attention. I was waiting for you to talk to Deej.
What?
Me? It's not my turn.
And someone who's used to a beautiful climate, but mediocre beer. Oh, going in there. Oh,
Totally.
no, I'm joking.
Totally.
Rubbish.
That's true.
Boo, American beer.
I'll just take my California wine. It's fine. I can deal with that.
That's very good.
Yeah,
Your
not
wines
bad.
are very good. Yeah.
Got my Italian. I'm good.
But guys, we played well and we won. The XG stats are going in the right direction. There was 9 shots on target. Some sites say 7, but let's go with 9. It sounds better. Everyone played well, except for a little dodgy moment from Romero, which we'll get onto later. Si and Johnny, we were in the ground, but you was really enjoying the atmosphere, weren't you? You two had a spring in your step, and I understand you were still skipping around North London near the midnight chime. Boys, going over to you. One of you let me know. What was it like from that perspective? Finally get a win and celebrate it together.
Over to you, John.
First of all, shout out to my mate Paul, who came at the game, sat beside me, because he's now been at 5 Spurs games and he's got 5 Ws. So, I'm sorry that we didn't bring him earlier, is what I'm going to say, because the boy is just he's unbelievable.
Get him in for the derby, please.
And also, I know we don't really do this, but shout out to Toucan Ash and Toucan Michelle, who we met in Soho. And it wasn't North London, we were scallying around, but Central London, we had a great night after. Oh, it was such a good experience all the way from, like you said in the intro there, Jim. We were in the Blue Coats. I was meeting Paul and my other mate Tom, and we were just having a catch up. But obviously the Villa Arsenal game was on the screen, and when that goal went in from Buendia, oh my God, it was not far off like Tottenham scoring it the lane. It was pandemonium, and obviously all the anti-Arsenal chants were starting, and I was just the mood walking down to the stadium after that was already, we were a spring in our step. And to again see Archie Gray in the midfield, see Siemens in the 10. And then, we played with purpose. We played so much better. And it was just we just kept pinching ourselves, didn't we, Si, afterwards? This is just a bizarre feeling. What's going on? We've won a game at home. It was brilliant. Really good day. Really good day.
Si, it felt like the buzz continued from, obviously Arsenal losing, but also just the lineup, young players in there. It felt like, yes, we're going attacking. You can see Richarlison and Ioane were going to effectively be 2 strikers, really. And Siemens was starting. Gray was back in midfield. The handbrake was off.
It was almost the similar feeling we had against Fulham for 3 minutes. But no, it definitely was. And you felt a difference in the crowd as well, I think. The atmosphere from the get-go was much better. The opening, when the Spurs was really strong. Vic got a big cheer when his name was called out. He got a bigger cheer than normal. So the fans, I think, realised what we needed to do. There was way more atmosphere. And it was obvious from the kickoff. Sometimes, Jim, you said, Pochettino said, he could usually tell in the first 10 minutes whether we were going to have a good game or not. Well, it was definitely in the first 10 minutes we were going to have a good game. And yeah, we'll get on to Gray and Xavi, but the whole team seemed to want to progress the ball quicker, snappier. They were making runs, they were making spaces, and it felt like we wanted to play the ball forwards a lot more rather than backwards and around that horseshoe. Kudos at times was immense. You just couldn't get the ball off him, except for his silly little juggling act that he sometimes goes a little bit off the rails. But there were times where he was getting the ball with 2 players around him and then coming away with it. You're thinking, how do you do that? So all round, I think, really strong performance. We talk about XG, etc., as though it's some magical, ethereal thing. It's not. Guess what? We looked like we had a lot of chances. That's high XG. It was good to watch. So, our ball progression was good. It was energetic. Yeah, so all round. And Simmons, we'll get on to, I know Deege's going to talk more about the detail behind it. But, yeah, had a stonking game. And the assist for Richie. I think that Richie goal was a 0.89 XG that he almost stuck over the bar. But
Get over it,
it
buddy.
always
Get
looks
over it.
always looks
you and
better in the
poor
roof of the
Richie.
net, doesn't it? So all round, really happy. We had a good night out afterwards, and it cost me a lot of money in a taxi back to Heathrow to get the flight. So yeah, all round, I don't feel.
Well, there you go. So it was brilliant atmosphere. And let's roll into the lineup a little bit more. You touched on a few of those bits, Si. But Stu, Gray looks more at home in midfield than a centre-back. I don't think he would ever played centre-back in a normal world, but the whole midfield looked to benefit from it. So kind of, we know Deej loves a Bentancur and Paulinho double pivot, but it was good to see Frank not listening to him this time and listening to the rest of us, right?
Yeah, I think we're beginning to see the Archie Gray this season that we saw in all those clips when he was playing for Leeds in midfield. I don't think he's had a bad game in midfield this season when he's played. Obviously, he's had that injury, which I think kind of curtailed his development. But when he's played, he's looked good. I thought yesterday he was. He actually had the highest passing accuracy of anyone on the pitch who played more than 45 minutes, which again shows he doesn't give the ball away, unlike some other players. He was great defensive work, tackles, clearances, deceptions. He was trying to drive forward. You see him sometimes. He's got some good ball control and trying to drive it forward. I thought, and Frank referred to it as well, he was clever at covering behind Spence when Spence was going forward, which again shows he's got tactical awareness for a 19-year-old, 20-year-old isn't bad. And probably is a benefit of when he had to play in defence last season. Although it wasn't his position, so to speak, last season with Ange, and maybe it did knock his confidence, I do think he has learned something from that. So it wasn't a complete lost season for him. But I think in general, we're beginning to see this, future England player that we thought we were getting. And he's, 19, 20? And he's still got, years of development ahead of him. So I think if he can keep this development going, there will be ups and downs, as there always is with young players. But if he can keep this going, I think we're really going to have a star for the future.
He's a really tall lad as well. When you sit in the ground and you watch him, you go, I just don't imagine you to be about 6'3", but he must be about that height. He's taller than most players in our side. Yeah, future's great for him. He's going to obviously fill out further, but it's more of his reading of the game, which is ahead of the years, I think, when you're making it at that age. So super exciting. Another player who had a much improved and needed, performance was Siemens Deej. Xavi, he was like the player we all picture when we get overexcited when you sign someone and you watch the YouTube compilations. We saw a bit of that, didn't we?
Yeah, no, I think he looked a lot better today, but I also do think that part of that is just because he was set up to succeed a bit more than he had been in previous games. I think that one of the things that I noticed that was really different about the way we played today, well, it's not different compared to like normal. We've seen it when we played this weekend, whatever. They don't know when we're recording this, but when we played this at the weekend, I think that one of the things that I saw that I really liked was the way that we used Kudus by allowing him to get more central and allowing Xavi to kind of play around him and let those two like play off each other really well. It allowed us to like attack the middle of the pitch more. It also allowed Xavi to find those pockets of space. And because they were constantly switching, you had the thing that led to the first goal where Xavi is kind of dragging the center back, I think it was Vandenberg, out from the back line. And then Kudus is also dragging the wing back towards the ball. So then Xavi can just make the run that he does. And it's just a simple ball over the top. And then you've created yourself a big chance just from that, because you can't just say this, like you can't just put the like defensive midfielder or a midfielder on Xavi, because he might be taking up positions on the wing, or he might be playing as a second striker in defense, because we press in a 4-4-2 a lot of the time. So I think that like allowing him a bit more freedom of movement to go and find those pockets of space where he is like the most effective, I think that was something that we did really well today. And then also, obviously, even when he does make mistakes, he isn't like one of the players that is gonna kind of just sit and go like come mope a little bit. And you saw it for the second goal, where he takes a heavy touch, he loses the ball, and then he immediately wins the ball back. Brentford out of position, he just takes the ball all the way up, takes what he's given, and then places it right in the bottom corner. So yeah, obviously a really good performance you can see from the goals and the assists, but I think that even outside of that, I think his positioning was really nice, and his interplay with Kudus was something that I don't think Brentford were able to solve, really.
I'm not saying it makes him better than James Maddison. Someone will say that in the comments. You're crazy. It was one game against Brentford, who we should be beating 30-0. But I would say we got glimpses of maybe a ceiling there that we might have a 10 on our hands who has some attributes Maddison doesn't have.
Sowski can, but
Next up, Johnny. You would have on the East Stand had a good view of Kudus in the first half. Was he getting your bum off your seat all the time? You enjoying watching this boy? Seems to be a lovely upgrade to our right wing, doesn't he?
Yeah, he was much better on Saturday. I mean, I think he's struggled a little bit since he had that injury at the kind of start of November. So yeah, he like I think Deej has mentioned there before. I mean, just his kind of his belief in his ability, some of the skills that he was able to pull off, and taking his what are you laughing at? Taking the ball on the turn and beating defenders, and the pace he has, just getting out of spaces where he's surrounded by a couple of opponents, and he's just keeping the ball. They're only really getting the ball off him when they're fouling him. I mean, that move in the first half, I can't remember who it was that he just sort of feinted the ball, changed direction, and beat the man, completely bamboozled him. It was like proper. If Soccer AM was still going, like there'd be a proper reel of him doing the showboats. He was really good. Obviously, the caveat is the showboat towards the end of the game, just before he got hooked. And obviously, when you've got the sort of his needless attempt to sort of do something fancy and then lose a throw in that led to, I think it was Romero had to make a sort of gasp tackle to stop a shot. So that was a very frustrating, considering you can sort of undo all of that. It's like the England batsmen and cricket, you know, they like you get yourself in and then you do something really stupid. So we'll be talking about the Ashes. You know, that's annoying. Porro was superb as well, and then he did that ridiculous clearance that pretty much was like a Gary Owen in rugby, just like also very close to the end of the game. And it was what I did appreciate was when he got lambasted by VDV and Romero were both having a pop at him, which is completely merited. Apparently, in the post-match, there was an interview with him, and he accepted. He just said, well, I've got a quote there. He said he basically understood the message. He said, no one is too big to be given a talking to, and that's why it's important to have leaders in the squad. So, you know, you hear sort of murmurings about him and his attitude, but actually the way he played for the vast majority of that game was really, really encouraging. And yes, to answer your first question, like absolutely so exciting. You've made the Aaron Lennon comparisons quite a few times, Jim, and he is that kind of player in terms of like the fullbacks are terrified of him, his pace. Just the fact that he can do something a bit unexpected, and he's just really direct, really, really strong, and you just sort of believe something pretty impressive can happen as soon as he gets the ball. So I love watching him play, and I thought he was absolutely superb. He's class. Delighted we have him. Great signing.
Indeed. Just we haven't had a winger like that since Lennon.
No.
And it's just been, I feel like it's a staple of a great Tottenham side is someone on the wing who's got that little bit of magic about them. We've always had them, you know, right the way back to Ginola, and I'm sure there's ones before that where people will be calling out their favourites. Who was your favourite ever winger for Tottenham Hotspur? Put that in the comments.
Waddle.
Actually, that'd be a good day.
Waddle was
Chris
Waddle.
Chris Waddle, yeah.
Tony
What a
Galvin.
player.
So who have we had? We've had Waddle,
Tony Galvin.
Tony Galvin,
Dominguez.
Steve Malbronk.
Dominguez. Here's one from the past. John Chidozie. We got him from Notts County. He was registered as the fastest runner in the league. He just went everywhere without the ball.
Oh, but who was the right winger?
Giovanni Dos Santos.
No. Before then, like your guys' day.
Andy
you know,
Sinton.
no.
Right wing.
Best. I thought it was a right winger. Anyway, we've had loads of good ones. We've also obviously had Sonny, who's
On the left.
on the left. We had Bale, who was a winger.
On the left.
We're
And
not
the
saying right wingers. I'm saying wingers.
Actually, he did go in the
Best
right.
ever
That's
wingers. Yeah, I'm sure there's someone we've missed here. That's
Waddle,
big.
Ginola.
Andros Townsend. Can't forget
Oh
him.
my God.
Darren Anderton. He played right wing.
I
Darren
love Darren
Anderton.
Anderton. I
Dan
love
Anderton.
Darren
Anderton.
He was-
That's
he
it.
was a brilliant player.
Anderton. That was it. That was the one.
Just injured
Yeah,
all
loads
the time, wasn't he?
But
Him
he
and
wasn't,
Nicky
though.
Barmby.
If you actually look at the stats, he was injured at the beginning,
really?
and that sick note thing kind of stuck with him.
All right.
Did Ricky Villa ever play on the wing? He made a few appearances on the wing, so he comes up.
We had Diego Maradona on the wing for one game.
We did.
Yeah, he's not bad.
He was
You see
all
that
right.
profile picture a lot, don't you, of
Yeah,
people
it's
with
cool.
him going around.
Hold on.
Terry Medwin, Terry Dyson,
Vacuum
and
cleaner
Ginola.
fame.
And obviously Cliff Jones.
God, that's going back, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's even before me and Johnny, Cliff Jones.
He's still always around the club. He looks well, though,
Yeah,
doesn't
he
he?
does a
He's
job,
good.
doesn't he? Legends
Big
speaking.
Tears for Fears fan, I think.
Is he really?
Yeah. I've
Well,
heard
actually-
the rumours.
Just moving away from our positive history for a second as Stu returns, I do want to. We will do a little step into the negativity zone because it wasn't perfect. It wasn't perfect. We did make some mistakes we discussed earlier, and one player was described as an idiot by Stu, quite with an exclamation mark. Romero's tackle, Stu,
Probably
was
an
a bit
adjective as well at the beginning.
adjective idiot. It was gone.
It was a ridiculously stupid tackle to do. I think on another day he might have been sent off. And the way ours has been going in our favour, but fortunately this time we got away with it. It was a stupid thing to do.
We will highlight that. See, we're all about balance here. We said one bad thing. Now we can say 5 good things again. Siege, the XG. It's finally over 1. It's nearly over 2.
Be done.
They said it could never happen
said
again.
It wasn't possible.
Oh.
They being maybe me at some point. I don't know. But yeah, no, this is definitely a step in the right direction. I said in the preview podcast that I wasn't going to be swayed one way or the other completely on whether or not I think he's like a long-term manager, but that I wanted to see steps in the right direction. And this is definitely that. Like I said, we had attacking ideas that I thought were interesting. I thought that our counters were quick and effective. I thought that we went forward pretty much whenever possible. Obviously, going backwards isn't always a bad thing either. So we held on to the ball enough. We were smart with the ball, but we were also aggressive with it. And I think that that's kind of the balance that we've been needing to find. We've been a little too smart on the ball a lot of the time when we're trying to attack, and it'll slow our counterattacks down. And I think that you saw that especially with Xavi. Once he got a little bit of confidence, you could see him attempting a bit more of those flicks, trying to be a bit more of that lockpicker that I talked about him being at the start of the season. And that's the kind of player that we've been missing because we haven't been attacking the center of the pitch much at all. And the players that we've played there, while good, don't have the passing range of Xavi and aren't going to be doing the creative stuff in the manner that Xavi's doing it. So I think that is exciting. I like that Kudus kind of had a license to roam. We've seen that a bit over the past couple of games. Obviously not all of them, but this isn't the first time he's done it, but I like it when he does it just because one of the reasons that I was scared of him playing in the middle when we signed him is that he did lose the ball a lot, but I think that the way that he's been playing this season, he's just, I don't know what's happened, but he just seems to, anytime anyone comes near him, if it's one player, they're not getting the ball from him. And he's been also a little bit better at, like I said, being smart with the ball, releasing the ball backwards if there's nowhere to go. And I think that that's a huge step in the right direction for him. So if he can like master that, like knowing when to let go and not have to beat the fifth man, he'll be even better. So I think those are really exciting. Obviously, still work to be done. Have to show that this is a pattern and not a one-off. But yeah, obviously, I think a step in the right direction.
And yes, we will highlight that as well because got barrages of abuse yesterday. Because we were apparently insinuating that everything was fixed and now Spurs were going to win the league and all that stuff. We're not saying that, but
your tweet did say how Frank fixed Tottenham.
Yeah, but that's you got to play the algorithm game on YouTube. I can't just be like, imagine if I put, imagine if the title was Tottenham win one game with a better XG. Things are improving, but we're not there yet. There's a long way to go. It's just like. No, everyone's going to be like,
that's the title of this podcast,
boring.
I think.
Yeah,
we'll try on this
one. So we've got to play the game. We're at the mercy of the algorithm, right? So anyway, I do want to also mention Banter for looking far better in we don't know whether Frank said, right, guys, don't worry actually about all the things I told you to worry about last time. Play with a bit more freedom, or whether it was Gray next to him, or whether it was a mixture of the two, or just the opponent. We don't know. It's probably a mixture of all these things, but he was great to see progressive Banter back in the house because we keep saying there's no midfielder who can move the ball forward. He can when it's set up around him in the right way. Banter can do that job to a degree. So yeah, it was good to see. Do you guys want to do the Prague predictions after the trivia and the Prague game or before?
Oh,
what the choice?
Let's get the Prague predictions out of the way.
Can I hop in? Just make one. Sorry.
Go on.
Just like interesting when you were talking about, she was talking about the Romero and the potential red, and when it happened, I was thinking, obviously what fans of Tottenham, the non-Tottenham fans and the media, the way they go on about him being like this kind of loose cannon and stuff, and we've kind of really come back on that last year or two. But looking at his record, he had that suspension against Fulham a week ago, and then he came back against Newcastle and got a yellow card, and then he did that on Saturday So that's 2 yellow cards in 2 games. And actually, in the 2 games prior to the yellow card suspension, he was booked in both of those as well, Arsenal and Man United. So he's got 4 yellows in 4 games in the Premier League. Now, I'm just like, it is part of like it is sort of a strength in a way of his captaincy, his sort of no holds barred, very aggressive style. But it is that sort of a control and measured kind of dimension that you really need and want, especially your ultimate leader to display. It's an interesting, I think, thing to take note of, that that there is this little kind of habit or this little recent record that we just hope is going to be going back to where he had been, but with far fewer, like very, very low number of cautions really over the last year and a half, I think.
I think the frustrating thing with him sometimes is he got that booking in the 30-something minute, right? So for the next 50 minutes, 55 minutes, he controlled himself because he didn't want to get sent off. So he can do it, and he can still play really well without incurring a yellow. I think there's also the bit about what game week are we in. It gets reset at game week 20, I think, as well.
Okay.
So I think he's got a little bit of leeway there, but it is a little bit frustrating because, to Stu's point, it was just reckless. It was a stupid tackle, and he could have gone for that if he'd have got the scissors right. He would have gone for that. Maybe it's just, we were just saying, he's just got a thing for Brazilians right now with the World Cup coming up next year. He said, Guimarães, he said, this fella on Saturday. Yeah, I don't know if there's any Brazilians playing for Prague because they might be in for a bit of a seeing to.
Well, the booking against Newcastle was in 23 minutes, actually. And the booking against United was in 34 minutes. So that's like 3 of the last 4.
So he can control it for the majority of the game.
He broke out this habit, like you guys said, for a long time, which makes it annoying. But now he's gone back to the thing of, it's almost like, I get one of these a game, so I may as well use it. It's like, well, no, don't always use it, because sometimes it will be a red, and then you get those suspensions when they accumulate, and then it screws up our plan. It's weirdly, like, I think he's probably a player that's quietly not really stepped up this season since the captaincy. I don't think I think his passing's a bit more sloppy. He's going back to getting a few more bookings. I was hoping to see him elevate himself a little bit more after that, like, heroic UEFA Europa League trophy.
Don't you think, considering his last-minute goal against Newcastle?
He did just score
minus
a brace.
asterisk minus some world-class bicycle kick.
Yeah.
Minus bicycle kick.
Also, I think his passing was a lot more progressive yesterday as well. He passed through the lines a lot more effectively rather than going sideways. And to DJ's point, we did attack the middle of the park much more effectively yesterday, and that helps him because you've got those patterns in front of him that gives him the angles to pass in there rather than getting it down the line all the time. So, I think he's been a bit harsh.
Well, I don't think he's got worse. I think he's always been excellent and always been our best defender. I think maybe I've seen Van der Ven. I've seen Van der Ven level up. Mickey's gone to another level this season, and
he's always going to at his age, isn't he?
It is partly age, but I would say the club have managed his fitness much better.
For sure.
I think they did all this new running thing under him, didn't they? And I guess it also helps having Danso. We didn't have that start of last season, so there's the option to kind of bring someone in with a little bit more confidence. But still, credit where it's due, right? Watch that hamstring tear next week. And Richie
hasn't had the injury issues.
Yeah,
true.
Yeah,
true.
I think with Romero, I think it's hard to say that he's hasn't stepped up, just because, like Si mentioned, a lot of it is kind of down to the way that we set up to play. And I mean, at the beginning of the season, we were all talking about how great our defense was and how we were setting up the defense and then we were going to build into the attack, and whether that's like occurred or not is something that's like I don't think you can necessarily. I don't think it's necessarily played out that way, but you can't have that like great defense without great center backs, and that includes both of them. I don't know.
True.
I think Romero's passing is also kind of dependent on people showing, and we've complained ad nauseum about people showing in the middle of the park, and your progressive passing can only look so good when you're huffing it down the line.
Yeah, and when you've got a double pivot sitting in front of you, it's a lot more difficult to get the angles to pass through the centre, right? And even though we've had a couple of really challenging weeks, and we had 4 stuck past us by them lot down the road, we've still got the 6th best defence in the league, which you wouldn't say that given what we've been watching, especially at home for the last few games. So it's still not bad.
No, it's true. But on that note of defence, and me massively backing out of my comment there. As I said it out loud, I thought that was the reason why that wasn't in the running order. It was on the fly. But the Udogie injury is a bit of a shame. He's had quite a few niggling injuries, Udogie, and it's a shame because I think Stu and I said this relentlessly going into the season. You can't go in with just 3 fullbacks. You can't go in with just 3 fullbacks. Ben, 2 plus, if you include Ben Davies, 4, but I don't really think he can cover that role of what we need. So I just feel like we're now in a situation where you can't rotate anyone. You can't rest either fullback now until sometime in January, and we've got a game every 3 days, Stu.
That's
Are we right?
exactly 100%. I mean, and the timing, it's just as the Christmas period comes in with the most games ever. It's just like, why do we do this to ourselves every year?
Yep. And then Archie Gray
Udogie
can't play midfield. He's got to play
No.
right wing back.
But even like Destiny, he was in my fantasy football team in Italy before he came to Spurs, and he never missed a game. And since he's joined us, it must be, I don't know how many, 6th, 7th injury he's picked up. It's just ridiculous.
Crazy. There you go. It's happened. But I want to quickly move on to Prague predictions. We've got great form in Europe, guys. Just quickly whiz around the room and get your quick predictions on the scoreline. Richarlison has to start, I assume, up front again because no one else is fit to start up front. Imagine Odegaard, because Johnson's out, will probably be left wing.
Moani's fit for selection, isn't he?
No, there was reports that he was limping after the game and had a minor injury. We haven't heard from Frank yet on him, have we? Maybe someone can do some little fact checking in the background.
Yeah, there was a presser. He mentioned the Udogie injury, and I thought he said Brennan. I didn't think he was mentioning anything about Moani.
I didn't hear anything.
Okay. Well, he was taken off as a precaution, I thought, against Brentford, but great. If he's not injured, brilliant. Score predictions, guys. Quickly start with you, Deej. Go on. What's your score prediction?
Sure. I think that while you can't ever underestimate a team in Europe, and this is a game we should be winning, and I would hope that we see a bit more of the attacking intent that we saw against Brentford, because this is a team that we can out talent because of the amount of money that we've put in the team and the players that we have. So I'm hoping that we see a nice, comfortable 2-0. But if we come out and see us play like we had at other times this season, it could get difficult. So I'm hoping that we come out, we score early, and we put any potential worries to bed quickly.
Gianni, score prediction, please.
Yeah, I don't know anything really about Slavia Prague other than a couple of things I've just searched, and apparently they've got the lowest number of goals in the Champions League this season. And I know Arsenal went there and won. We're 22 games unbeaten at home in Europe, 18 wins and 4 draws. So as Deej just said, in terms of just the level between the two sides, you would imagine it should be a comfortable win for us. And it's the sunny homecoming tomorrow. So I'm really gutted that I'm not going to get to be there to say thanks for everything and I love you beyond words. But I won't be. I'll just have to enjoy watching him on the telly. So I think with Sonny being there, that's got to be worth at least a goal and a half. So I'm going to go for 4-0 Spurs.
Ooh.
Wow. And we do. Hey, remember, we actually interviewed a coach from Slavia Prague and learned all about Kinski, who came from there, didn't we?
That's right.
Yeah. So we do know more about Slavia Prague than you think. You could probably find that video somewhere if you search Slavia Prague coach Kinski onto YouTube. Stu, what are you saying?
I don't think we should underestimate them that much. They haven't scored many, but they've only conceded 8 as well. They got the same result as we did against Bodo, 2-2. They got thumped by Arsenal, they got thumped by Inter 3-0 both games, but they drew against Atalanta, who are no mugs, and they also drew against Athletic de Bilbao, who are also no mugs. So I don't think they are the walkover game that we think they are. That said, I think we're going to win. I think we're going to win 2-0.
2-0 to the Spurs side. What are you saying?
Nothing but a comfortable win would be acceptable here. 2 goals scored, 8 goals against. And I get your point there, Stu. The Atalanta one is the one that you say, that's a good away draw. But they were at home against Bodo. They were at home then for the draw against Athletic Club. They're away at us. They've been tonked 3-0 by Inter away, like you said. I think a 3-0 win and a good performance. What we don't want is we don't want to be going into Dortmund and Frankfurt having to get wins. You know, you want to be able to go into there saying, yes, we might need a point here and there, but you don't want to be having to guarantee a win out of those games, especially Frankfurt away. That's going to be a really tough game to get anything out of. Dortmund at home's obviously not going to be easy. We have to get 3 points tomorrow, and I think that Frank needs to put out an attacking team that's going to go at them, because they can't score. They've got 2 goals they've got 2 goals in 4 games. I mean, that tells you all you need to know.
Well, I think Frank's got a fantastic opportunity, because despite all the talk of Spurs being a really it is a hard job. It's one of the hardest jobs to go into, because the expectations are in line with the clubs that have more than us, and we look down on the clubs that are actually not that far off us and are on par with us history-wise, like the Evertons or the Villas and the Forests. So it is hard to meet the expectations. But I don't think the fans' expectations this year is much beyond top 7 and some good football at home. That's all we're really asking for. So if you continue that good home form of go on, beat Prague, which you should be doing, you beat Brentford, you suddenly get a little bit of grace against Liverpool, but just we want to see us have a go and some good performance. People, that this first season, I think people will be more forgiving of that. It's next season the pressure will be there to say, where's the growth? I want to be back in the top 4. I want to be challenging for trophies. But right now, it's a great opportunity. So anyway, let's get into the trivia.
Jim, what's your prediction?
Go for 3-0 Spurs.
Good choice.
3-0 Spurs. Everyone saw Vuskovic scorpion kick, if you haven't seen it. By the way, another player we interviewed at Oso Spurs. If you go onto YouTube and go Vuskovic interview, you will see us interviewing him. Yeah, we did that. And it was Divine, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Alfie Divine.
Yep. That's Elias, wasn't it?
It was Elias.
Yeah.
He bagged that one. Great work, mate. He's now actually employed by his local team as the Paul Coit of that team, I believe.
It's
pretty cool, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Put us on the CV.
Springboard.
Bagged an interview with
Oso
Vuskovic.
Spurs springboard.
And then he binned us off. Yeah.
Can't blame him, to be fair.
Yeah. Joe did the same. Got a job, helped us out for a bit. Got a job in media. Binned us off. Came crawling back though, didn't he? Didn't you, Joe? Didn't you, mate? So Vuskovic. So I've got a question. In January, you just have to go yes or no, because we don't have time to go through too much justification on this. But there's a complex deal going on. Palace have said, tell you what, Spurs, we'll give you Guehi. You can have him for free. We want Vuskovic. Deej, you taking the swap. Si, you going for potential or proven?
Potential.
Oh, it's 2. Jew?
Potential.
Oh, Johnny, would you? What about you, buddy? He's homegrown as well, isn't he?
Who's he displacing out of our team right now, though?
Exactly. 100%.
You've got a really good options in defence, though, haven't you?
Yeah. Denso does a good job.
Because Vuskovic could end up being absolutely world class, or he could be in the Championship the next. He could be Lewis Holtby.
He won't be.
Even if he were to hit the minimum of his potential threshold, his potential range. Even if he were to hit the minimum of that, that's kind of the benefit of being a club like Tottenham, is even if he does turn out to somehow, even if he has injuries, knock on wood, obviously, but even if he were to somehow not be able to fulfill the potential that he's clearly showing right now, we could just go buy someone else. We also mentioned, we don't have a spot in the squad for Guehi right now, unless we wanted to cash in on one of our current center backs, and I don't think that that's worth the switch. And honestly, the way that Vuskovic is playing, he appears to be a very good center back, and that we'll have for years to come. And having someone who's that good at that age for the price that we got him is not worth switching for a couple of years of Guehi, who will just create selection headaches.
I think the only doubt any of us have is if he's got the pace for the Premier League, and if he doesn't, he'll make it in any of the other top leagues in the continent.
There's the pace, but he could still change position or role, right? He could move to a deep line role in midfield or something else. We don't know. He's so young.
Put him at the 9, man. Look at his goal catalog. If you want to have a fun evening, go look up Vuskovic goals. He's got some crazy ones.
At his age, Harry Kane was a central midfielder. So yeah, you never know.
Whack him up top.
How much is he worth, guys? Then
right now, I don't
Would
think
you
he's
take
200 million.
Yeah, you can't put a price on it. It's one of the ones where it technically has a price, but it would be so unrealistic for anyone else to spend, unless you're being intentionally obtuse, that he doesn't really have a price.
Would you take 70 million?
For all intents and purposes, I think priceless for Tottenham at the moment.
Would you take 70 million, Deej?
No, it would have to.
How much is he worth in the comments?
North of 100 to. Just because he's this good, this young, and it's at one of the most important positions on the pitch. Okay. You can't put a price on that.
All right, he's worth 100 million. We're just sticking it out there. He's £100 million centre back.
comes
go.
across in that
Suck it.
interview. I know it's a very short sort of representation.
In the
of
Oso Spurs
who he-
interview, yeah.
And the Oso Spurs
Yeah.
Ilias
Just put it out there,
interview.
yeah.
Just I really like his level-headedness, but his belief, and obviously you've got to have that. There's something about like an aura of maturity, I think, that he kind of exudes. That just in that position you have to have. And then any clips you see as well, and it's clips, right? I'm not some kind of like fond of knowledge, but he does give that sort of impression of being somebody who's just completely believes in themselves.
Apparently,
100%.
Elias was saying off air, like he was really, he like messed me. I was like, man, you really need to like create an Instagram and do your Instagram and TikTok, because Vuskovic asked like, oh, where can I find the show? It's like, oh, it's on YouTube. He's like, no, that's for old people basically. I use TikTok.
He's
Is it on
right.
TikTok?
He's not wrong.
And he was like, yeah, let me have a look. And there's Oso Spurs 3 posts and 1 follower, probably my mum. And apparently his face just dropped. I was like, why am I doing this?
Brilliant.
We're much bigger on YouTube, I swear, and on
Probably.
Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
Classic.
Yeah. Right. Trivia time. We all got the same question this time. What's the Christmas movie where the ghosts come at night on the chains?
Christmas
Christmas
Carol.
Jacob
Christmas
Carroll.
Carol.
Yeah.
Oh, that
So
was
the
easy
ghost
trivia.
comes at night.
Yeah, that's
And
good.
says-
Move on.
All
Next.
right, up the Spurs.
He wakes you up, Johnny, in you're in those pajamas with the hat. You know, the old
Yeah.
hat, the blue ones. You're all covered up, your hot water bottle, toes poking out, snoring away, wakes you up,
Lovely.
there's chains.
Sounds about right.
There's a spirit informed you, Johnny. Tottenham Hotspur Stadium is cursed. It's cursed.
I'd believe
You
it.
will never
Sounds like
see
Tom Cruise and Far and Away.
You will never see a league title whilst it's Spurs' ground. The only way you can end this curse, you can win other trophies, you can't win the league title, is by moving into the
I know what you're gonna
Emirates
say.
and having to share a ground with them, like Milan style, but it will always be called the Emirates and always be red.
If I
Oh,
agree to
Gary.
that, I'm going to get lynched. So there's no way. I'm
So
sorry.
we'll just never win a title.
Yeah,
Are we guaranteed
we'll
the title?
we'll win cups. That's
Yeah,
fine.
so have we guaranteed the title?
No, you're not guaranteed the title, no.
Oh,
Because
okay.
otherwise it's a great thing, because you're going to win the title in their ground.
But you have to stay there in perpetuity. So, like, even if you win it, you're screwed. You've got to sit in those red seats and look at that Arsenal imagery all around you. No,
So
absolutely
wouldn't
not.
it be satisfying them to have to say Tottenham Hotspur win the league in their ground?
Yeah, but it wouldn't be their
The
ground. It would also be our
baggage.
ground. And then they would win
Yeah.
the league in
It's
our
red.
ground if they ever
Yeah.
won
Yeah.
It's got all their hot. You have to walk around the stadium before games.
it. There is a secret third option
Yeah.
here, which involves the destruction of the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
Yeah, we could just burn it to the ground.
Oh, yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
I think
That's
that's
Yeah,
like
Zoric's job.
Like the Archway factory.
So the third option is you have to destroy your new stadium and rebuild the
Allegedly.
old White Hart Lane in its place.
oh yeah.
Yeah, because we've still got all
What's
the
the-
materials. I mean-
what's $2 billion of debt between friends?
Yeah, I mean, would you take it? Okay, what about if it was West Ham Stadium?
No, that's horrendous.
Horrible
Have you been
stadium.
there? Oh, God.
Morgue.
Yeah, but
It's horrendous.
there's no
Can't even
point
see
if
the
you
pitch.
can't if you can never see the trophy in a beautiful stadium. What's the point in having a beautiful stadium?
I've already seen a trophy in our place a few months ago.
Yeah, true. You just
And we're going
it's
to win the
no-brainer,
Champions
isn't it?
League.
It's a
Yeah, exactly.
hypothetical
So-
too far, Jim. It's a hypothetical too
So
far.
do
I'm
you
sorry.
want to live with the curse then? We just stay where we
Yeah.
are. We focus on
Yeah.
the FA Cup each year. We focus on European trophies.
I'm still assembling a team and making sure that stadium doesn't see next year.
I've got another fun one actually. Deej, you can you've got to restart Tottenham. They've gone bankrupt, but you can take one current Spurs player with you as you start in whatever bottom tier you're in on a 10-year contract. Help you rise up through the ranks.
10-year contract?
Yeah, they can't go anywhere. They've got to stay with you until they hit their cap out and they
They
retire.
stay fit. Come on. You haven't thought this through.
They
No,
don't know if
I'm-
they stay fit. It turns out Deej manages them. He's the manager of this new club.
I'm inclined.
Deej is the manager.
He's
They're not
so
going anywhere.
determined to get Spurs
Ted
back.
Lasso, we're giving it the
It
nod.
can't be someone much older than like 23 or 24. So that kind of limits my options. I'm kind of inclined to say Vuskovic, to be honest. I think
And
he's
you-
our best appreciating
Xavi?
asset.
Xavi?
Maybe Xavi. But just like my thought process is that like if we've gone bankrupt, we're gonna need a sellable
Brickfall.
asset.
What would you call us, Deej? Would you call
We've
us like
got
the
so
Roosters
many-
or something?
Oh, would I not be able to keep the same name?
No, because like let's just say it's like one of those like MK Dons scenarios where Spurs have been
Okay.
like butchered. So you're calling us the Roosters?
I guess
Really
we're the
white
Roosters,
Roosters?
yeah.
Yeah.
I gotta pick something
London
really
Roosters.
American,
And
actually.
like flames coming out of the cockerel's mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Would it be the
That'd be
Cox?
Getting worse.
cocks. Yeah. If Spurs had an NFL team, what would we call it? It would probably be the Roosters, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
The Mighty
Yeah.
Cocks. Mighty Cocks.
Fighting Fighting Roosters.
It's
Yeah.
The
taken.
mighty cocks of Tottenham.
The mighty cucks of Tottenham. Yeah.
We actually do have a lot of players. Going back to the original question, we do actually have a lot of players that are good
Yeah.
answers for this, which is good. It's like that's not something that,
Exactly.
like, if you asked me that question like 4 years ago, that we might not have had.
This is evolving. This is evolving.
It's
This is great. We've got to restart Tottenham. The MK Dons scenario has happened. We're building around because we're calling it the mighty. We're calling it Deej is gonna. We've got to choose a manager from one of us. You've got to choose one current player we can take with us as well. We've got to choose a chairman. We've got to choose head scout, and we've got to choose. What else we've got to choose? Like the player liaison officer or something. I don't know. Who are we going to?
Let's see.
Back
Who's
to
the
that.
manager of us?
Johnny's player liaison officer, so he's just walking around Vuskovic everywhere.
Easy.
I was going to say,
no,
I'll take Roy Kent from Ted Lasso as the player liaison officer.
Well, we've got to have like a Paratici. You've got to have a director of football replacement, actually. So
We've got an
That's
Italian
Sai,
style
yeah.
in.
Exactly. So,
Right
we've got
there,
Sai
yeah.
going around schmoozing with players, doing his deals on his iPhone cable thing.
Double bubble.
Stu's like got to be the chairman, hasn't he? Like he just commands. Like he's just got that aura about him.
Yeah,
No
Italian
messing.
Levy.
Just could see him doing negotiations and stuff. You're not getting any bargains out of Stu.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
My Dutch stinginess is coming through.
Yeah.
All right,
I
Jim,
think-
what are you, the scout or the manager?
Not really either. I'll just float around. I'll do
You're
the
Paul
brand.
Coy.
I think it's got to be.
You're the
yeah.
I'll do
Iliash
Paul
of,
Coy. I'll do
you're the
gotta be
Iliash
PR.
of
That's what I want. Yeah.
Tottenham's mighty cocks, or
welcome
whatever
to the
we
home of
call
the mighty
ourselves.
cocks.
Deej has got to be the scout, and Jim's got to be the manager because Deej is obviously like watches the third tier in Madagascar and he knows every player on the planet.
Yeah.
Jim-
got the Thomas Frank Buffon going on, hasn't he?
Yeah. Oh, that's true. Actually,
But maybe Stu's the manager and Jim's the chairman or the director of football.
Yeah.
I think Stu would put the players in their place.
Mm.
Call them adjective idiots when
Yeah.
Exactly.
they go in for a cruncher. I think that's the one.
Well, there we go. It was very good. And tomorrow we're going to win, and it'll be even better.
Definitely.
And then
Yeah.
Absolutely.
we can all be happy about Spurs for a week. And on that note, please make sure if you listen on audio, you're one of the 33% of wonderful people who stays to the end. You review the pod because it really helps us when you get those stars at the end. So thank you very much if you do that. And if you are a regular on YouTube, but you don't click subscribe, that also helps us. Anyway,
If you do that, why listen all the way to the end and not subscribe,
I was
fellas?
thinking
Come on,
exactly
guys.
But why
Doesn't
doesn't
make any
Jim say
sense.
this at the start?
Yeah.
because I'm
'Cause
not
surely
interested in
one's-
what I'm not interested in because one reason is at the end of the pod you review it. You don't start, exit your podcast on your app, review it, and then go back on it. It's just not a
But
great
you've lost 2/3 of the viewers that started.
because I only care about the ones that stay to the end because they are our core audience. I don't only care about them, but I
Ooh.
mostly
Yeah.
care
Well,
about
to be
them.
fair, it doesn't
I
matter if
mostly
you don't care
about
about the others. They're not here.
That's true.
They wouldn't
That's
know.
true.
Everyone's gone.
That's
Who
true.
cares about that lot?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Uckham.
You
Right.
non-listeners.
Yeah, non-listeners nonsense. Anyway, come on, you Spurs.
Oh, he's
Oh,
Spurs.
Spurs.